Younger me, if I could sit you down right now, I would tell you something that would change everything. But I know you wouldn't believe me. Not yet. Because right now you think you have time. You think life is a straight road that stretches endlessly ahead. You think success, happiness, and meaning are waiting for you somewhere in the future, just a little further down the path. But let me tell you something. The road isn't endless. One day, sooner than you think, you'll wake up and realize you're not chasing a future anymore. You're standing in it. And when that day comes, the things you thought would make you happy won't matter as much. The things you feared losing won't feel so important. And the biggest question you'll face won't be about what's ahead, but about who you are. Younger me, you have spent your whole life trying to be the right kind of person. The kind who fits in, the kind who is respected, the kind who makes people proud. And for years, you have convinced yourself that this is who you really are. That the version of you the world sees is the only one that exists. But I need you to listen carefully now, because Carl Jung is here to tell you the truth. You are not just the person you show the world. You are also everything you have hidden away. The doubts, the anger, the ambitions you were too afraid to chase. The sadness you swallowed and told yourself wasn't real. These things didn't disappear. They became your shadow. And as long as you refuse to see it, it will control you. But here's the thing, younger me. Your shadow is not your enemy. It is your missing half. The part of you that holds the power, creativity, and freedom you've been searching for. Jung spent his life studying why people feel lost, and he found that most of us live as half a person. We wear masks, we play roles, we become what we need to be in order to feel safe. And for a while, it works. But then something happens. A crack appears. The mask begins to slip. You start to realize that the life you built isn't enough. Not because it was bad, but because it was incomplete. And midlife is when the shadow comes calling. It does not ask for permission. It forces you to look at yourself, not the version you carefully constructed, but the person you really are. And that, younger me, is terrifying. Because to accept yourself fully means facing the parts of you that you don't like. So what happens if you don't? What if you ignore the shadow and pretend it isn't there? That's when it begins to rule you from the dark. It twists your desires into addictions. It turns your unspoken fears into anger at the world. And it makes you resent others for the very things you refuse to see in yourself. This is why so many people in midlife feel lost, bitter, or restless. They are fighting an enemy that is inside them. But here's the secret Jung wanted you to know. The shadow is not here to destroy you. It is here to make you whole. And if you have the courage to turn toward it instead of running away, you will find that everything you have been looking for was hidden there all along. So how do you integrate it? It begins with honesty. Stop filtering your thoughts to be acceptable. Notice what triggers you in others, because those are often the parts of yourself you have buried. Write down the things you avoid thinking about. Face them. Question them. Understand them. And slowly, you will start to feel whole. Jung once said, the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. But it is also the most liberating, because the moment you stop fighting yourself, you realize you were never broken. You were simply unfinished. And now, at last, you have the chance to become whole. But younger me, self-discovery is only the beginning. Because once you start seeing who you really are, you will face another question. What now? You have spent years climbing, chasing, achieving, seeking approval, building a life that looks good from the outside. But one day, you will wake up and realize that none of it is enough. Not because you did something wrong, but because you are being called to something more. Abraham Maslow spent his life studying fulfillment, and he discovered something most people don't understand. The people who feel the deepest sense of purpose aren't the ones who achieved the most. They are the ones who became the most. For years, you believed that success was about what you had. The title, the money, the reputation. But true success is about who you are. And the moment you understand that is the moment everything changes. Because success will never be enough if it isn't aligned with meaning. And meaning doesn't come from what you achieve. It comes from what you create, who you love, and how you grow. And younger me, if you ever find yourself feeling empty, if you ever wake up wondering, is this all there is? Turn to Viktor Frankl. He survived the worst suffering imaginable, And in the middle of it, he made a discovery that would change everything. Happiness is not something you chase. It is something that emerges when you live with meaning. And meaning comes in three ways: through work, through love, and through suffering. First, meaning through work. Not just a job, but a calling. Doing something that serves a purpose greater than yourself. It doesn't have to be grand. It can be raising a child, building a community, creating something that outlives you. It is about contribution. Second, meaning through love. Not just romantic love, but deep connections, shared experiences, and the people who truly see you. And third, meaning through suffering. This is the hardest to understand, but it is the most powerful. Because when pain enters your life, and it will, you have a choice. You can let it break you, or you can use it to transform. Some of the most purpose-driven people in the world turned their greatest suffering into their greatest mission. Survivors became healers. Those who were lost now help others find their way. Frankl himself said, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves." So, younger me, if you ever feel like life has lost its meaning, ask yourself, what are you creating? Who are you loving? What suffering are you transforming? Answer those, and you will never feel lost again. But I know you, younger me. You fear change. You hesitate. You overthink. You tell yourself that one day, when you are ready, you will take the risk. But you never feel ready, do you? Soren Kierkegaard called this the dizziness of freedom. That terrifying moment when you realize that your life is completely in your hands. No script. No guarantees. Just you, standing at the edge of the unknown. But here's what he knew. Fear is not the enemy. It is the threshold. And the only way to step into the life you were meant to live is to embrace it. Younger me, I need you to hear this. You will never feel ready. And if you wait until you do, you will wait forever. But that doesn't mean every fear should be ignored. There is a difference between fear that signals danger and fear that signals growth. The first is instinct. If a fire is burning, you don't walk into it. But the second kind of fear is different. It appears when you stand on the edge of something new. Something that calls to you, even if it terrifies you. That is the fear you must walk toward. Think about the things you have always wanted to do but never dared. The job you secretly dream about. The place you long to live in. The part of yourself you keep hidden because you're afraid of what people will think. The only thing standing between you and that life is the fear of the unknown. Kierkegaard's leap of faith was not just about taking risks. It was about trusting something that cannot be proven. For some, that means faith in God. For others, it means faith in themselves. But at its core, the leap is about choosing to believe that the life you are meant for is on the other side of fear, even if you have no evidence yet. One day, younger me, you will reach a point where staying the same is more painful than changing. You will stand at the edge of something new, heart pounding, stomach twisting, wondering if you can really do this. And I need you to remember this moment. The moment when you finally understand that fear is not a sign to stop. It is a sign that you are on the verge of something extraordinary. And younger me, the biggest lie you've ever believed is that your past defines you. That the mistakes you made, the regrets you carry, the people who told you who you were, that all of it has carved a path you can't escape. Alfred Adler would tell you otherwise. He spent his life studying why people stay trapped in cycles of unhappiness, and he found that it's not because of what has happened to them. It's because of the story they tell themselves about it. Younger me, if you believe you are a failure, you will act like one. If you believe you are unworthy, you will settle for less than you deserve. But what if, just what if, that story isn't true? Adler knew that at any moment, a person can rewrite their narrative. You are not the victim of your past. You are the author of your future. The pen has always been in your hand. So here we are, younger me. You spent years thinking midlife was something to fear. That turning 40 meant time was running out. But now you know the truth. This is not the end. This is the beginning. Jung taught you that you are not broken, only unfinished. Maslow showed you that success is not about what you have, but about who you become. Frankl proved that meaning is not given, it is chosen. Kierkegaard reminded you that fear is not a sign to stop, it is a sign to jump. Rogers showed you that the moment you stop pretending, you start living. And Adler handed you the pen and told you to rewrite your story. Younger me, you are no longer chasing a life. You are stepping into it. And now, at last, you are finally ready.